Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Animosity Amateur Smite League. Today, we're going to see a great match in our Helheim division between KC the Dudes and Abusement Park. I am Bloody Lifetime. With me on the cast is Zombie Tantalus. And how are you doing today, Zombie?
I'm doing great, Bloody. Doing absolutely great. We've had quite a few games this weekend. Had some absolute bangers this weekend so far, so I'm hoping this turns into the same. Um, looking up here, first things I'm expecting to see, I don't expect to see much change here from what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Hachi, Athena, uh, you know, the whale. Uh, there's it's been the same now. It really has, though. Um,
Yeah, I have
it's
to agree with you. It's one of those
it,
things where you just ban the whale, ban Athena, ban Hachi, ban Kukulkan, and usually the games are pretty balanced at that point.
yeah. I mean, we have seen a few people making some target bans. I've seen a couple of teams prioritizing like a Thanatos ban. So there's some room for variety there, but for the most part, man, just the last 3-4 weeks, it's been the same bands every game. And
Yeah, and
speaking
we're
of,
starting out
here's
fresh
Aries.
with a new ban with with the Ares ban. Something that we don't typically see a strong, guardian that can really lay out the damage and with good cripple and no escape. It's interesting to see that banned.
Well, I don't hate it, and I feel like Aries is in a decent spot here. I don't think he's your top support right now, but he's in a decent spot, and there's also the potential that these teams know each other. That the support for KC Dudes here is a banger Aries, and Abusement Park just don't want to see it, and that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's a complete possibility. And, we talk about these interesting bands that might be targeted bands. Achilles band here, a god that weirdly I've been seeing a bit in support as well as in the solo lately. So it's one of those guys that with the execute, you never want to really have to deal with that. As we're seeing that Casey the Dudes banning out two executes. Maybe we might see an Ao Kwong ban as well.
Well, you know, with the Thanatos, the Achilles ban, it really makes me feel like these fellas are wanting to play some Kepri today.
Yeah, I have to agree, but they are going to ban out a Wheelix as that last ban on the side of Abusement Park, banning out standard bans, Kukulkan, banning out the Athena. You know,
Oh,
right now
ow!
I see, Vamana is up as they're going to be, Abusement Park is going to be locking this in first. But you want to know who else is up, Zombie? Hachi.
Hachi, Bologna, Toth, um, Bake Kujira. I could keep going.
You
Um,
absolutely could.
this could be a serious game. Yeah, there's the Bologna. So looks like now we're just playing the snag the OP picks.
Yeah, and on her, the second best hunter in Smite right now, gonna get picked up by Casey the Dudes. A little bit interesting that they're not going for the Hachiman because even between the number one, number two pick for ADCs right now is such a vast discrepancy. But Hachi did get nerfed this last patch, so he's not quite as strong and got nerfed just earlier this week on Tuesday. And you've mentioned that Capri zombie as Abusement Park is going to pick it up. Seeing that two executes are out of the pool, I can't blame them.
It's like I thought maybe the KC dudes were gunning for playing the Kepri here, and maybe Abusement Park just said, yeah, no, we're gonna have that. Um, Yikes! So we've got a Kepri, we've got a Vamana, we've got a Thor. Um, Already a pretty crazy dive with an extra layer of safety added in, by that Kepri ult. Um, KC dudes have got the On Her and the Bologna so far. Um, and now a Gilgamesh.
Whoa.
So, on opposite side here, there is also a massive amount of dive.
Yeah, which I find that Gilgamesh pick quite interesting because I'm expecting the Gilgamesh to go into the jungle, as we were seeing that in the pro play in season 10, at least a little bit, as well as seeing that quite a bit early on this season. I still find it an interesting pick, regardless, as it's really not one of those super meta jungle picks, but it does work quite well.
Yeah, it plays well, and Gilgamesh does with that Winds of Samashi has a good team fight ult. It's got a nice area to it. You've got CC, you've got an escape, you've got the damage on the one for your clear and your fight. Like, is he super high in the meta for jungles? No. But can he do everything you need out of one? Absolutely.
Yeah, and that is completely true. But going into the second set of bans, we're seeing Abusement Park banning out those good mid laners, banning out the Thoth, banning out the Merlin, which I love to see that. While Casey the dudes banning out the strong ADCs in the Hachiman and in the Ishtar, and they're going to be picking up the Agni as their first pick out on the second set of picks. And they had to go for a mid laner, want to try and take away one from the Abusement Park with their pick. I like them picking up now rather than waiting till the end.
I love this Agni pick here. Um, that dash isn't necessarily going to get you away from Vamana, but into a heavy dive team. He's got self peel. He's got great damage. He's got the long range artillery. I think it's a great pickup here.
Yeah, and Agni, we really have not been seeing much lately. He's been that god that throughout the history of Smite has been seen as like the pinnacle of balance for mages. And it's interesting to see that he hasn't been picked up as much over gods like, Thoth, Tiamat, even Giannis as of late. And, speaking of the Giannis, Abusement Park going to be picking it up. And not only do they have a lot of dive, they have a lot of mobility on the side of Abusement Park.
Absolutely. I mean, between the Giannis and the Thor, they can conceivably move a team wherever they want pretty quickly, not even factoring in the teleporter. They can get to wherever they need to on this map pretty quick. Aphrodite?
Yeah. And final pickup is the Aphrodite, going to be going into the support role for KC the dudes. And that's one of those guys that, a lot of people are playing a lot more after seeing it in the pro play at the end of season 10, especially since the winning team, the J Dragons, were able to pull that off in the grand finals. Seeing that a lot more than we used to. And Aphrodite being quite strong in the support role just due to the Undying Love ultimate, able to protect herself and an ally, giving you both CC immunity and damage immunity. Basically, that beats an Aegis on you and an ally. You can understand why that's really strong inside of Smite.
Yeah, and she's got the movement speed buff when linked with the one. There's the attack damage buff when she hits an enemy with the kiss. She's got the heal. She's got the back off. She does it well. She does it very well, and that ult's kind of a cherry on top of the cake. Like you were saying, it just kind of gives you that option to whomever you're linked to. Just congratulations, you're out. You get hit by nothing.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed that's quite interesting on these two teams is look at the supports. We're seeing a Kepri and an Aphrodite. The one thing that they share in common is that they're both meant for saving your allies whenever they overextend or about to die. And so, they do it in two different ways. Afro will keep you alive, while Kepri waits till you're dying.
Right, and you better hope he gets that circle around you in time as you're in the process of eating it. This should be an interesting match. Both both teams have an excellent dive and what should be a very safe backline. So, I, honestly, I'm going to be fascinated to kind of see what goes on here.
Yeah, and is there any team that on paper, based off of their draft, that you think has the edge out as we're going to be going into game number one, Zombie?
I mean, you'll never catch me betting against a team with Bologna on her and Agni on it.
Completely understand that. But as always, there's only one way to find out who's going to take this game, and that's by jumping into game number one here. And right off the rip, we are seeing that this Gilgamesh is in the jungle and is the Bologna solo, as we had assumed it would be. It's always, good to make a note of that. Is there anything that you see quite interesting about the builds here at the start of this game here, Zombie?
Nothing too out of the way. You know, the carries have opted for different build paths. Rama going the Mannequin Scepter. Uh, Anher's taking the Gilded start instead, so presumably we're going to see him build into crit. I'd be expecting Rama to go, attack speed, shred. Um, Benevolence coming out of both supports. Not particularly aggressive supports. Makes complete sense. I am loving seeing Conduit getting some play. I feel like we went the entirety of last year with Sands of Time just being the only thing you could put on a mid.
Yeah, Sands of Time was one of those items that, due to alternate timeline or pendulum of ages, early on in the start of season 10, really the only good options as Conduit Gem kind of fell to the wayside for a long time with that.
Yeah, I mean, you saw a few gods kind of get away with it when you would upgrade it into that Gem of Focus. Oh boy.
Oh, on the solo side, Mouse Cop gonna find a solo kill onto Dizzle here. Gonna be able to get an early first blood on this Bologna. A great play by him. Not able to show it off, but wow, off to a strong start for Casey the Dudes over on that solo side.
Yeah, and that's what Bologna brings to the lane. Obviously, she has a great team fight into hunters specifically. Like she does that very well.
Yeah, and
She
we
might
might
want to
be
be careful
seeing
though.
Mouse Cop about to lose their life as I'm Knuff is here. Gonna hit with the barrage. Not gonna be able to find the kill. Dizzle will go under the tower for it, but lose his life for it. As this blown up 2-1, Dizzle does get the return kill, but as I said, has to sack his life for it.
I don't think that's a worth trade.
A lot of damage onto this Kepri here off a big knockup from the on her. Aphrodite quite low herself, but not going to be able to do quite enough to this Kepri to find that kill.
Yeah, moving back to this solo matchup for a second, Vamana could be in trouble here. Having gotten the first blood put onto him, he already had to burn his teleport to get back to lane, and then sacking his life for that kill. He's lost, he's lost a decent bit of farm compared to this Bologna. I'd expect it to be sitting at about half a level right now, and Bologna from ahead can get real ugly real fast. I mean, Bologna from behind can get ugly in cases.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, having a little bit more XP at about 500 to the 450 right now, it's gonna be, it's still very close through this early game as the Blown and Dizzle are both hitting level 5 about the same time. It's gonna be interesting to see how that develops since Bologna will have a bit of a gold lead throughout this early game due to that first blood.
Yeah, and I did notice on the back harpies, Vamana stopped to take them with Thor and kind of mitigate some of that XP that he lost in the first place. So well played there for those two.
Yeah, I have to
Um,
agree. And we talked about that conduit gem. You know how it's kind of coming back up and is really the focus upgrade that really did things on it. And it's really nice because Agni and Giannis can both use that, can they not?
They absolutely can. Any. Oh
Oh,
boy.
Giannis through space and time just off of the unstable vortex. But I'm Knuff is here with the Anvilodon, and that's going to be an Agni sent right back to the grayscale.
Yikes. This is part of the reason that, as a mid, if your jungle's not there, that's okay. You can kind of give up those camps. You don't necessarily want to go sniffing around them by yourself. And, Abusement Park have a ward sitting right there. Giannis knew where he was at.
Yeah, and now Dizzle is in trouble here, and see, he's not gonna have the ultimate, and that is gonna be a nice little bludgeon right to the dome. Bologna here of Mousecop gonna find himself another kill, already having 3 kills in this game at the 5 minute mark.
If I had to draw up a list of gods that I would not want to see 3 kills on 5 minutes into a game, Bologna might not be.
Big jump by the on her. Desert's Fury will come out and Guts will go down. A good kill there by Ryu Sinji on that on her for Casey the Dudes.
Yikes. We're averaging what, 1.3 kills a minute here? This is off to a start. This is off to a roaring start.
And now I'm Knuff is here. They are going to get out some damage onto the Afro. Not going to be much, but it is going to be the Kepri down to a quarter, and he's going to get blown up by this on her. As now this door of I'm Knuff going to get Ryu down to about half. Is going to back off the Rama on the rotation, rolls in, but he's going to get impaled away. And there is the rotation off the Gilgamesh, a smack in the butt. Going to go down. Anvil a thought onto the purple. Going to take him down to a half, but now he's going to get the back end of that from the Gilga, forced to use his beast to get out. And now Casey the Dude's able to get an invade off on this.
I kind of feel like Abusement Park fell victim to that like trickle mistake. Instead of just completely cutting off for that, they just kind of walked in one at a time, and it was like really unfortunate for Abusement Park there. They're gonna lose the purple, they're gonna lose the green. It's not what you want to see, and on her is now 2 levels up. Giannis on
Another
the other
through
hand.
in space and time, and Unsealed Vortex doing a lot of damage to this Agni. He's trying to get away, but Giannis looking to in this door, trying to chase him down. Not going to be able to find the mark quite yet. A good hammer is going to zone him back, and the Kepri is here, and the Kepri will steal the kill on that Agni.
Hey,
And now
Capriatos go hard.
Dizzle is Poppy is in danger, but it's a 4-man rotation on the Mouse Cop of this Bologna. But Casey the Dudes are making their own rotation. Dizzle will go down, and now it's a chase onto this Thor. He is going to get Scarab's Blessing, going to be able to hammer out. Not quite able to find the kill is Casey the Dudes. Going to trade 1-for-1 there.
Oh man, that was rough for Dizzle. He felt like he had a decent fight, and then there were just 4 people jumping directly on top of him. Just unfortunate. Oh.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, making that big rotations early, as we're seeing these teams are wanting to fight all game, all the time. And I gotta say, I love it. I love seeing matches like that. They're so much fun to cast and to watch that it's really one of those things that, both these teams wanting to fight so much. And it works out for this Agni as what do you think about this Tablet of Destinies?
I've liked the item honestly. As a mid player, I've liked it since they put it on. Well, hang on, Thor.
Thor is going to land the Anvilodon. It is going to hammer time this man, but it will be Guts off that Astral Rush to sit down Ryu. And this Aphrodite of JJ comes over, wanted to help out Rio, but not in time.
Man, it seems like as soon as one side gets a solid lead, it gets taken away. Like they're going back and forth here in these lanes. Um, you mentioned the Tablet of Destinies. I really like it on Agni. Any of these gods like Agni, like Tiamat, Merlin, even who have that capability to cast a lot of abilities in a short span of time, it's great. Little bit of scuffle here over this mid camp. Not sure what it's going to turn into though.
But it is going to get a grab. Now Raider might be going down here. I'm Knuff. Not going to be Knuff here as he's not going to be able to get the kill through space and time off the mark. Is Raider somehow going to make it out of there alive? But, you mentioned this Tablet of Destiny and you liking the item. But what are your thoughts of like not even neither of the mid laners building a Book of Thoth here in the early game? I understand that Agni can still go into it, but how do you feel about him not building it first?
With the changes that they made to the way that items are stacked, it's no longer necessary. And you know, especially in this instance where Tagny. Excellent. We love that. We invent things here. Because he's opting for this tablet, it's one of the few stacking items in the game that don't stack from like your damage now. So building it first gives you the opportunity to get that online, and you can just build the Book of Talk later.
That's a great point there, Zombie. And it's more than likely what he's going to be going into on that second item, building that first tier of it. And as we say, that is going to finish out the Book of Thoth here.
I wouldn't be surprised to see all three of them. I would not be shocked to see a Soul Reaver end up in the build too. Um,
Yeah, Soul
that
Reaver just being one of those great late game mage items. Able to do that percentage health damage is such a massive thing. And I have to agree with you. That'd be a great idea for the Sogni.
Yeah, and any of the items with mana, you also see a lot of them on her.
A good roll by Guts, but going up into the Ash Rush gonna take so much damage from that Desert Fury. Impale and the auto gonna be able to find the mark. Somebody knows how to AA cancel here, as Ryu gonna find the kill even if he gets melted by Knuff on the rotate.
Well, that was a solo and a gank. Man, this is Rama. I feel like he could have kept that ult and probably killed the on her there. I mean, of course, assuming you hit it, but like, I don't know what the thought process was there behind canceling it. Vimana getting real poked out here. This Bologna is starting to get nasty.
Yeah, and Casey the dude's gonna be able to get the beacon here in mid off of Abusement Park being, nowhere to be getting abused at least a little bit and forced out of these lanes. It's unfortunate for them through this early game as Casey the dudes are doing a lot. As now I'm Knuff looking for a kill onto Ryu and is going to be able to find it, able to get Hammer out. But Raider looking for a kill onto Druginator of this Kepri. I'm JJ is here trying to help, but a good rotation off the Agni as well. They're trying to trap in this Kepri, some big stuns, but is it going to be enough? The Hug Bug is at a quarter, and he's going to be able to walk away. Dizzle Poppy on the rotate on this Famana, wanting some, but not going to be able to get any himself. But he's going to find Mouse Cop, who's at a quarter, as Eagles Rally is going to come out. Dizzle right now trapped in between four is going to go into the big baby. The Giannis doing a lot of damage, but in Mouse Cop getting dove under the tower by Dizzle. The Asperage just off the mark, able to survive. Dizzle now forced to go on the retreat, and no one will die here. Everyone's going to be able to get out off this fight.
That is wild. That is just wild. all of that, right? We had a 10-second tower dive, four-man groupings, and nobody snuffed it. That's crazy. One thing I was looking at here, eh, this partially built item that Vamana has got going on here. He's got the earring, and I've got to wonder why. Um, I get that, like, it's got the MP5, but at that point, couldn't you just slot Shoguns?
Yeah, and but right now, this mid fight, Raider's going to get grabbed. That big through space and time is going to connect onto the Agni, but wrong targeting as Raider going to be able to get out. You mentioned that earring, and believe it or not, I have not seen this start or that item in a while, but that is something that we saw a little bit of last season, picked up in the pro level as just an extra way to get mana. But now Knuff in trouble as he's going to get opt out by this Agni, but Agni not having the Book of Thoth or the Tablet of Destinies completed, just not having the damage.
Yeah, and with the Book of Thoth, not, oh boy.
And Dizzle gonna get soloed on the flip side by a Mouse Cop as Casey the Dude's gonna try and start up this Gold Fury, is diving deep onto Guts, is gonna get a beads early, forced to go up into the Astral Rush, but there's three waiting on you when you get down. You better hope your Capri can save you, and he cannot, and that is quite unfortunate for Guts as the ult came out early as he was going up into the Astral Barrage.
This Gold Fury pull here does answer a question that I didn't think to ask, but we had 16 kills on the board, and one of the things that's been going through my head is, like, where is the objective pull? All this fighting that we're doing, it needs to be for something. At the end of the day, you putting people down in lane, that's fine. Putting people behind is good, but when you put them down to a certain point, they're worth less than a jungle camp. So,
I
at some
mean,
point, you have to pull objectives from all of this brawling.
yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. As we look at this Vamana of Dizzle, 1 in 5 right now, having a rough time into this Bologna. Really just needs to step away from the fights, farm up. But right now,
He's in
he's
there.
going to
My
be
man is
dashing
in there.
in, trying to steal buffs, trying to do something. He is going to steal, or almost try to steal his blue buff when he's 3 levels down. This man is absolutely nutty, and he's going to try and fight more as he's getting a rotation off the Thor. But right now, Mouse Cop just being so tanky already, and wilding out with an executioner on this Bologna. What do you think
Look,
about that
look,
zombie?
man. Look, the set of stones on that Vamana to be up in the Bologna's blue buff, who at the time was holding a solid 3-level lead. And the Thor's ulting in now.
And Villadon is in. Ryu doing a lot of damage off the saving of the Undying Love. Gonna hop in, looking for something more. Bologna to the back line is gonna kill I'm Knuff. Now we got a big fight as the Winds of Kamesh gonna come out, trap a lot of people in. Big Baby trying to run these people down, but there's nothing to be found as Ryu and Mouse Cop gonna come back. Bologna slap, 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 finds a double. Bologna slap, 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 gonna give the kill to their mid. Bologna just gonna keep going, not having anyone that can stop Mouse Cop right now as they're gonna keep diving into this backlines, just absolutely gunning for them. They're gonna find 3 in this fight, and just absolutely bonkers being able to dive like that.
All right, so I've got a kind of good news, bad news situation for Abusement Park here. The good news is that Bologna's not level 20 and at full build. The bad news is that she's already doing wild damage, and it gets worse.
And through space and time, gonna come out. Giannis and Dizzle trying to fight over this beacon. I've Knuff is here with the Anvil Dawn. A big set of stuns, gonna pull the It's Knuff trying to fight into the Bologna and Gilgamesh, taking so much damage. Gonna be forced to use his Aegis. Trying, but the Bologna not able to find the kill. Knuff is out, and now it's Dragonair pulling him back in, is now
Oh
trying to
my.
set everyone's so living through this as Casey the dude's finally able to take that beacon after standing on it as a full team.
That beacon sat for almost a solid 25 seconds at needing a single tick to convert over and go to the side of KC. That was crazy. Pyro's up there at the end of that, but as you could see from the health bars, they did not have the health to pull it, especially when you've got to worry about through space and time or, general Giannis damage coming through on the side of it. It looks like they might be going up to it now, though, or maybe we're just placing some wards.
Well, they are in the area, looking like they're hovering around it, and they are going to go ahead and pull this. Although Raider on this Gilgamesh not making the rotation over, it's just going to be the Agni and the Aphrodite. The Giannis has his ult. If they had a ward there, he could be able to steal this away. Effie knows what's up. Let's see if he will notice, and he does not, as Casey the dude's gonna be able to get a free pyro. But now Knuff on the flip side, looking for a kill onto Ryu. Immediately gonna go up into the anvil. No one lands, but a beautiful Desert Fury gonna absolutely thrash him. And now the solar blessing, that scare blessing over the wall. But he is still gonna die, going in with no time left. It just disappeared. Gonna eat one last auto before his team got there. Ryu finding the kill through 3.
Brother just said, I may die, but you're coming with me. One of you is coming with me. Good lord.
Dizzle just dancing in the backlines right now, slapping down on this Agni. It will take a good chunk of health off of him, but the heroism proc will get him pretty healthy still. As they're gonna keep going, the through space and time gonna hit the Bologna, bring her to half, but Dizzle's in trouble, trapped between 4. He has nowhere to go, but the Giannis portal gonna get this man out of dodge. What a great play there by Moth.
That was a beautiful portal, and also good on Dizzle for recognizing to take it. The amount of times I've seen that happen.
But Dizzle still is not out of trouble yet as they dive him deep, didn't leave, but is going to lose his life. Thor getting an Undying Love and a set of bees off that Invilidon. Guts in the backline, raining in shots, doing quite a lot. Knuff going to the backline is going to find the kill on the Agni, trying to chase down the Gilga, but he's going to get ripped away by the Astral Barrage. Coming back for the Aphrodite, a gorgeous wall to keep him trapped in with the ADC. And now a through space and time is going to be off the mark, but this is going to be a free Oni Fury for Abusement Park, as long as they do not let Ryu try and steal this away, as they're going to try and go in on him at least a little bit, doing some damage.
He's got the ult.
He does have.
This is dangerous.
And he will not be able to steal it away. And
that was close.
And he's about to lose his life for it. Knuff is here, and Dizzle with the teleport in. He has nowhere to go. Dizzle finds the kill.
Man, that was a fight. What started as what I thought was just a for sure, no way this goes any other way pull for KC turned completely upside down. That is mind-blowing. The next objective to fight over, not that we've needed an objective to fight over so far. We are very happy just fighting. It's the Fire Giant, and we're at the point of the game now where we can look to take it. Secure wise, honestly, it depends on who's got the better wards. I do think the through space and time hits it harder, but he's gonna have to be able to see it. Otherwise, Agni may have the slight advantage. I'd like to see a pull, and soon.
Yeah, but they're gonna start up another fight here. A big wall and a good through space and time off of it. Gonna go up into the Anvilodon, trying to track down the Gilgamesh. As Raider gonna not be enough, as he will fall. And now Dizzle trying to get in on the action, trying to get onto Jay Racing of this Ogni. Smack, 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 slap, 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 and that is an Ogni at 1 HP. Somehow gonna live, but Guts is gonna finish him off with the Astral Barrage and gonna find a second one as well as JJ's fault. And now this Rama is running it in, trying to get this kill on the Bologna. But now Dizzle trapped in by Ryu in this corner, gonna get impaled into the wall, not gonna be able to steal away the speed. And Ryu's just gonna walk away here. Not gonna try and fight this Famana. An interesting choice, having had him trapped in, and with that Abusement Park gonna be able to get a free beacon and get the Pyromancer off a great fight.
Yeah, and Casey the Dude's no longer in the gold lead now. Now it's not a lot. It's 1200 gold, but considering in not so yeah, I mean, considering in not so recent memory, you were down a pretty decent chunk. That upswing is huge there. They just completely wiped 3 members of KCE and got 2 objectives for it, and it's turned around now.
And one of the things is that Bologna is worth a lot right now. 7-1, level 20. If they can get a kill onto Mouse Cop again, get that shutdown, that'd be so huge for Abusement Park to really extend this lead if they can find the kill on the Mouse Cop.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot of gold going into somebody's pocket, but that's going to be your case in point here for this match. This Bologna is going to have to be dealt with. Uh, Abusement Park can kill everybody else, but Bologna still has the capability to murder. So
Yeah. And Capri gonna pull him back to this Rama. JJ gonna get 3/4 his health bar just gone. Through space and time is gonna be off the mark. No follow up is gonna be from it. But Yana still in position to throw in some unstable vortexes. But I'm Knopf going in with the Anvil on, gonna force the Undying Love at least before just hopping out. A good use of his ult to bait out that strong Aphrodite ult. And now you have the opportunity to pull this Fire Giant, knowing that you have 2 members of Casey the Dudes poked out. Now's going to be the time. Start it up. Still smacking this Afro so much, but Dizzle's going to get caught out. Absolutely eviscerated by Ryu off the setup by the Gilgamesh. Now it's a 4v5 situation. Once Mouse Cop gets back off the teleport for Abusement Park, they might be in trouble here. Good wall, going to keep them safe. Is now Casey the Dudes posturing themselves for a Fire Giant of their own.
yeah, they're pulling it, and I mean the through space and time's not up for another few seconds, so KC currently have the advantage.
And you mentioned that through space and time is now back up. Is gonna use it prematurely. Gonna get hit onto JJ, but through a beautiful Undying Love gonna stop the tick damage. But it does not
You're
matter
not
when the
stopping that.
Anvilodon, not able to even see him, is gonna find him though. But he is gonna lose his life for that. Bees and Egg is coming out, but he's just gonna needs one auto off Ryu. These Astral Barrages doing so well, but not gonna find it here. Guts slipping away at 1 HP himself.
Oh
So
man.
going deep, is gonna get kicked in the face, get pushed away, and is gonna use the big baby. Gonna try and run onto Ryu, but he's just gonna be able to jump away here.
Oh, I was about to say on her, that is not your fight, buddy. That is not the fight you want. Vamana in that form is just not something you want to try and tackle solo, ever. Looking at these builds now as we're moving into this later phase, uh, going to the end of this Bologna's build, it it looks like she may be going for an Oni Hunter's garb here.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Uh,
an interesting choice, but why is that so important, Zombie?
I mean, at some point, I guess if you feel like you've already got the damage you need, which between that Axe of Animosity and the Executioner, you certainly do. You've got the damage. She's just looking for percent mitigations here. And Bologna is doing one thing in these late game team fights. She is jumping into the back of the enemy team. And you're definitely going to get your stacks out of that item. So I honestly, I kind of like the pickup here.
Yeah, it's quite the interesting choice. I quite like it myself as Abusement Park. Gonna be able to pick up the gold here on the flip side. You know, and now Casey the dude starting the Fire Giant, knowing that Abusement Park really isn't here. Dizzle trying to run in, gonna get two knockups, but not gonna be able to get there. And now Anvil Dawn gonna rain in a lot of damage onto Ryu, but I'm Knuff is not Knuff here as he's gonna get blown up and have to retreat. And now is Casey the dude's on the offensive as Poppy is going to go into the ultimate, gonna try and start running him down. Smack, smack, smack. Astro Barrage gonna find some damage, and everyone's at 1 HP. As Poppy gonna be a good distraction, giving Guts away in. Guts gonna find himself too. Moth on the backside, getting an unstable vortex. Gonna find himself a double himself. That's two doubles to Wave Abusement Park, and this is gonna be an EFG for him as well.
You've pretty much got it. I mean, Gilgamesh can jump in here. It is an option. He'll die for it, but
He's on a ward.
he could take somebody with him.
He's gonna try as they all turn on him, gonna put him down to a quarter. I'm Knuff gonna try and chase him down while the rest of the team is gonna melt the EFG. We got ourselves a deicide and an enhanced fire giant going the way of Abusement Park. No longer are they abused. They're going to cause the abusement themselves.
Great team fight there from Abusement Park, and yet, maybe I think Mouse Cop is just doing this to spite me because he's now sold that Kasari and is building into this tree.
Yeah,
Um,
just is trying to go a different route. What item do you think is? Do you think it's gonna like be mystical mail, or what are you really thinking here?
Coming from the fact that Bologna is going to be diving that Rama, I would almost have to assume he's building into a Midgard here. Yeah. I mean, Mystical has definitely seen a lot more playtime than it has in recent years, which
Yeah, I mean, I
I,
have to think, you're dealing with a Vamana, with a Rama. You mentioned that Midgard might not be a bad idea, but right now there is four of them around JJ, but they're gonna let this Aphrodite back? Wild. Is now Agni gonna get caught out. Anvil Dawn is gonna go up. It's going right on to J Racing, and J Racing is no more off of beautiful through space and time. Now they're running in. Dizzle going into the backline. Smack, smack, smack on Ryu. Knuff getting ran down by Mouse Cop, and this Scare's blessing on the wrong target. Not gonna be able to save himself. Guts is just destroying this front line and the back line of Casey. The dude's gonna kill the Afro, almost kill Ryu. What the heck is this Rama just absolutely critting people straight into the abyss? Wait, scratch that. This man doesn't have crit. It's just full pin and power. But he's gonna eat crit
oh dear.
from Ryu, getting caught there at the doorway, and he is done.
So,
Yikes.
what we kind of saw there is the power of this attack speed and penetration build, especially on a stem hunter like Rama. Crit has taken hit after hit in the patches the last few weeks. They keep tweaking it, keep nerfing it, they keep thinking it's overtuned, which, to be fair, I don't know if any of you played PTS, but as much as I've heard people complain about this Deathbringer glyph, I promise you it was 5 times worse on the PTS. It was absolutely absurd. Now, with the buffs to some of these other items, with the attack speed that they've put on mannequins. Mannequins becoming a viable hunter's item is just mind-boggling to me. Um, but now we're here, and honestly, I feel like on these stem hunters that have that extra attack speed capability, a mannequins or a death's temper with this silver branch, I don't think you need crit.
Yeah, it's gotten to that point where just having power and pin with that silver branch, you can get upwards of 70 power off that silver branch once you get it going. And that can be completely terrifying and really kind of change the tide of crit versus attack speed, which we really haven't seen in a few years in Smite lately.
Uh, no, no, not at all. Moving up like through last year, even the year before that, right towards the end, it was a really heavy crit meta. I believe Cupid was one of your top ADCs at the time. Um, you know, we won't even get into that. The winged blade change just neutered my favorite hunter, and I'm not happy about it. Um, but to see the ADC meta kind of potentially shifting away from crit, for any of you at home that haven't tried Death's Temper yet, do yourself a favor and give it a go because it's wild.
Yeah, just you look at where ADCs are in general right now, just being able to do a little bit of everything, having such good items. And right now, Nyan going for Fire Giant as they're diving in deep. What is this Vamana doing? Going for this mid bird. Gut's gonna find a kill onto Rio on that side. And Vamana gonna be able to solo the bird with a small bit of help from Giannis. There's two birds down. This Honor is gone, and now it's a 5v4 with two birds down. Abusement Park looking to try and end this game. And right now, that Giannis and Rama gonna blow up Gilgamesh, but Rama gonna use his life to the rain of fire. Now, Titan is already taking a quarter of HP off the top. There's still a 4v3 here, and now Abusement Park gonna be forced to walk away a little bit, but are gonna try and get that duo side bird again and are going to be able to take it. This Vamana is slapping these objectives now.
I I don't know what just happened. Um, Man, I do think for sure that Agni, without a shadow of a doubt, just saved the game for KC. Um, you know, Agni is going to suffer a little bit here because the only pin that he's got in this build is, I think, 10 flat pin that comes from fully stacking Book of Thoth. Um, you know,
Yeah.
his damage is coming from these yellow procs. It's coming from the after effect. It's a viable build. There was a time when it was much stronger. I don't know who remembers that, but this was kind of a meta build path for a while, not too long back. The Tablet of Destinies, the Soul Reaver, the Book of Thoth, the Soul Gem, and you were doing 1200 damage with an ability at times without any pin.
Yeah, we're only 1 year removed from that being a massive thing at the start of year 10. But right now, Abusement Park picking up this enhanced fire giant, it's real low. Mouse Cop is the only one that can try and steal it. Not going to be in
Uh-oh.
time. And using that Eagles rally to try, but not going to be there. And now, massive through space in time. Going to hit 3. And now he's going to be able to find the damage, able to find the kill onto Ryu. And now Thor up into the Anvil of Dawn, going into the back lines as Mouse Cop finds himself a double. Gonna be able to teleport out, but a big wall gonna trap them in. And now it's a triple. It's a quadra kill for Guts. This Rama just gunning him down off the rest of the team into the Astral Barrage. Wants the Penta, but is not gonna be able to find it. J Racing having the Aegis, and now this Titan is gonna be on and going down as Abusement Park turning the tides, turning this game around, gonna be able to pull out game number one here.
Yikes.
What a nutty game,
That
man.
that was that was a wild end. And the damage that Agni was putting out on the back end of that fight, I thought for a second that like maybe he kills them here, but that Rama jumped into that fight and just shredded the whole team.
Yeah, you look at Moth on that Giannis hitting three with the through space and time, just doing all that damage, and the rest of that team of Abusement Park just setting up the CC. And that Rama was just able to tear through what was left of the team of KC the Dudes.
Yeah, he you know, Guts played this Rama very, very well. Um, Moving into game two here, like KC Dudes had some very positive points. Mouse Cop, for one. Mouse Cop was doing a lot. So you've got things you can work around here. Maybe we don't let Guts play Rama again. Because, with this attack speed build that we're kind of starting to see more of coming into the meta, that puts an argument for stem hunters like Rama being stronger than almost any of the others.
Yeah, and one thing we also have to look at is Moth on this Giannis going undying throughout that game. Just being able to just stay alive and be there for his team might be reason enough to take the Giannis away from Moth as well.
Well, you absolutely can if you feel like it was a problem. The issue kind of is when you have a mid or any character really that's playing a god like that and they play it that well, making that Giannis ban happen means something else gets left up. And if that something else turns into Kukulkan or Thoth, it could be just as equally as large of a problem.
Well, you have to remember that Thoth did not get banned out till the second set of
It
bans.
was up, wasn't it?
So was the Hachi, and neither team picked them up and banned them during the second set of bans. So it's one of those things where maybe they don't feel confident on these gods or know something where, hey, the other team can't really play this. We can let it slide at least a little bit and play more towards our comfort picks.
Hey, you know what? Absolutely. With that info in mind, absolutely. Get rid of this Giannis. And, if for no other reason, then we are no longer allowing you to hit us with a Giannis ult through 6 different walls at 500 yards.
Yeah, I have to agree. Those Giannis ults were a little nutty, especially there at the end game, getting 2 of them with hitting 3 people, just doing so much to set up for your team. Even if your damage numbers were not as high as the rest of your team, you were still an asset to your team, saving Dizzle in the early game with that portal, being able to hit some massive ults and set up for your team and making it where they could just roll through that team of KC at the Dudes.
Yeah, I think a solid 5-6K of that damage on the Giannis came from that last ult.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. But for now, as we're going to get set up for game number 2, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll get back to you with the action. We hope to see you all there. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Animosity Amateur Smite League. We are here for game two in this set between Casey the Dudes versus Abusement Park. And after a good win by Abusement Park in game one, it's going to be Casey the Dudes taking the first pick. And what are you really expecting to see picked or banned out here, Zombie? Because I know after a game like that, there could be a lot of high priority picks or bans coming up.
Yeah, we talk about it on the desk sometimes where it's like especially in a best of three, your game one can kind of be your throw the normal meta bans and see what everybody plays or see what they're going to play, and then that can kind of lead into your draft plan going into the game too. Um, at this point with some of the individual performances that came out of Abusement Park, maybe we do look to focus a couple of bands here. Mid went absolutely great on that Giannis. Maybe you throw him onto something he's less comfortable with. ADC cooked with that Rama. Maybe you make him uncomfortable. Um, the picks and bans phase is a big mental development, and it can be a chess match. So just have to see what they aim for here. Bake
Yeah, and
Kujira.
as you mentioned, like the whale will get banned this time. Didn't even get banned in our game one. Did not see it picked up at all. Quite interesting as he is very strong right now. But we are going to see the Aphrodite taken away. I like this ban, getting away with that invulnerability. I expect potentially a Kepri ban, either probably in the second set of bans as well. Try to take those ultimates that really can keep your allies alive away.
Yeah. Rest of this pretty standard. The Aphrodite band's something we don't see a whole lot of for sure. Athena, I don't need to analyze or tell anybody why Athena is a nightmare. It looks like we are gonna ban the Thor.
Death
Yeah, and
There.
awaits.
we will see a final ban with the Bologna. No surprise there at all. And being locked in right out the gate is the Thanatos, the hand of death. And, Zombie, I like this Thanatos pickup. It's a god that has been seeing a lot more play with the changes here in season 11 due to the way stacking items are built off of damage rather than kills, makes the early game Thanatos just snowball so much harder.
Yeah, it absolutely can. Fan is without a doubt one of the more snowbally characters that you can get your hands on. Although, speaking of snowbally characters, uh, while he does it in a different way, Susano can very much do the same thing to a lobby.
Yeah, it's just, well, Thanatos does it by
Where you
executes
going?
and just being in your face. Susano does it by disruption, knockups, and setup for the rest of your team while also doing extreme amounts of damage. It's gonna be I'm going to
I
be
will
excited to see how
release
the
my
jungle
ghost.
develops, as we're gonna see a Kuka lane locked in for Abusement Park, and Casey the dudes are gonna get the Hachiman.
I uh I kind of like the Kukulin pickup. You know, so they end up banning out the Bologna, which, fair enough. Sometimes you go through these pick ban phases and there is something that's really strong and in meta, and you just go, all right, look, we'll leave it up. Let's see if they can play it.
Yeah, I
And
have to
in that
agree.
case, he can. So now we've got a different matchup in the solo lane, and Kukulin is a character that is very difficult to fight into, especially on that first wave.
Yeah, it really seems like these teams looking for quite a bit of early game aggression. We see Sasano and Kuklane who like to fight early. We see a Thanatos and a Marticarus on the other side, both gods that can do quite a lot in the early game. The main late game threats are the Hachiman and the Rama that are just locked in. And I gotta ask, Zombie, what do you think about, we talked about it a little bit in game one, but we didn't really quite get to it. What do you think about these bluestone hunters that have kind of come into the meta lately?
Um, well, I've got 25,000 worshippers or so on AMC. So what I think about that is that I'm very happy. I love it. Uh, I'm glad to see it. And jokes aside, it's it's solid, and especially when you have a scenario in a meta where there's only a few mids that are truly just peak performing, and you're seeing a lot of these get banned away, like the Cuckoo, like the Toth. Um, Having a hunter out of that mid lane, Shogun's Kasari is bought in almost every game now. You're getting so much value out of it, and I like it. The one thing it doesn't offer you, though, is that objective secure, and I'm sure you're probably sick of hearing me even use that word. Um, but that's the only weakness there. Like you don't have the secure. Other than that, your team fight's great. Although I'm a little worried for Marty's safety into this Susano.
Yeah, as we saw earlier, like you mentioned that objective secure. We saw this for one of the sets earlier in the week off one of our other divisions here on AASL, where having objective secure really made or broke the teams and the matchups because able to actually secure out Fire Giant, Gold Fury, and more really made such a huge difference. And now we're not seeing either team really with any strong objective secure as this Ishchill is locked in
Now is the
and having a
time.
Marticarus in the mid lane. So it's going to be spicy to see who can actually secure out these objectives
Tremble
if the enemy
beneath the
team is still
waves.
up. It's going to
All right,
turn into a bit of arena to get these objectives.
I got a wild thought to throw out here. This may be an Ixchel support.
Nah, no way. I don't see it, man. I think this is a Ishchill mid. She has a
I
lot
did
of
say it was wild.
damage.
I did preface that with wild thought.
And
Okay,
it is
all
going to
right.
be Ishchill
I'm
mid.
glad I'm wrong.
I'm glad you are too.
Especially as a C2, I don't find myself saying that a lot, but I'm very glad I was wrong.
Yeah, Ishchill does have a surprising amount of damage on her one, able to both hit with the front side and the triangle, the prismatic side on that end, getting a blind and some strong damage. One of those guys that really is more difficult to play due to the hitboxes of her abilities, but if you can land them quite properly, does a surprising amount of damage. But you mentioned neither team really has secure, so who's going to be able to win the fights is going to be who's going to get the objective.
Yeah, it very much could be. The dynamic that I'm going to be looking for here out of Abusement Park with the Ixchel and the Susano, the dynamic that Ixchel brings to these contestions for the mid neutral camps, once you hit that level 3 territory, especially that early in the game, if Ixchel lands that root on you and you don't have beads, Aegis some way out, that is death. So I would be looking here for Abusement Park to really make use of that and put heavy contestation into this mid.
Yeah, and one thing that Abusement Heart does have going for them is that is a lot of knockups on their side. And the one thing about knockups inside of Smite is that they do not get hit by diminishing returns. And for those who don't know, diminishing returns is where if you get hit by multiple sets of crowd control consecutively, they tend to diminish how much crowd control you're actually taking. But when it comes to knockups, you don't get diminishing returns on it because it's always the same amount of time in the knockup, no matter what the god is. It because it's set for the god and it will always be consistent. So that's one thing that Abusement Park has going for them, that all of their CC is going to last its full duration.
Yeah, it will. And with the knock-up thing, it's like they well, my train of thought just died on the spot. You can beads the knock-up, but it's not gonna really do you any good because you're still going to be in the air regardless. Um, outside of pre-beadsing it can cause a lot of problems in these fights. I like this Abusement Park draft.
And I have to agree with you on that one. Both sides having strong teams. I think that if KC, the dudes, can get out in the early game, they have a strong chance of taking this one. But we can talk all we want. There's only one way to find out, and that's by jumping into game number 2 here. All right, we are already a minute into this game. We're already seeing Mouse Cop getting, is a level up, but is taking quite a lot of damage from Dizzle here. Now, is there anything that really stands out to you on these builds as these solo landers try to fight? Kuklane looking to try and get a first blood, but not quite able to find it.
Oh man. Well, that right there was what I was talking about with that Cucullin, man. He is so hard to fight into in the first couple of waves of the game. Nothing really standing out
And
to
Mouse
me.
Cop about to die to
Oh,
minions. Gonna be forced to jump away. Almost got tagged by the Winions. My lord, man.
yikes. That was so close. Just so close. I do notice Ixchel is opting for the Sands of Time. We had a whole discussion about the Conduit gem, and she's going for this Sands of Time, which the early game MP5, not to mention the scaling MP5 in the early game, can be very beneficial, and particularly on Ixchel where you're looking for a full combo, that early cooldown's really nice too.
Yeah, it's one of those items that is both good early and in the late game. And I like the choice of it on is chill over the conduit gem, since you have more abilities to use more abilities, because you have the gleaming glass and the thread of light, the flip sides of your first ability. And really, I think the cooldown is going to be more helpful for an Ishil throughout the game than that extra bit of clear due to that.
Yeah, Cezanne's looking to invade this blue here.
And Raider is here, is not going to be able to secure it. Knuff will steal it away, but Knuff might be in trouble as Raider is going to poke him out. Going to have, but not going to be able to find the kill. Mouse Cop in deep trouble, is going to get hit by the ultimate and is going to go down. Dizzle gonna find first blood, taking away the Bologna. Seems to be paying off here early.
Yeah, I talked about it when he picked it, the pressure that Cucullin brings to the lane, which, to be able to out pressure a Nike is kind of an achievement in and of itself, because Nike's lane pressure is pretty severe. She's got great clear on that Rend, good mobility. Um, he's I really like this Cucullin pick so far, and I think he does too.
Yeah, and one thing that is going for Dizzle that we really did not mention after the first game was just the fact that he had the second highest damage in the game. Thanatos execute just off the mark, but is going to eat a Cataclysm under the tower. A great dash by Guts on that Rama to stay alive. Unfortunately, Raider not going to be able to find that kill there and is going to fall under that tower.
Oh, he fell victim to the classic Thanatos ult hitbox there. That ult can be deceivingly tricky to hit. For what you would consider normally a big circle, very easy to hit. That hitbox can be weird.
And it looks like a rotation on the mouse cop yet again. Gonna be able to force the Nike ult, but he is going to disappear as I'm enough with the Typhoon. Gonna be able to find that kill.
Yeah, now, while we have seen several kills now going the way of Abusement Park, we're looking at a 1,600 gold lead. Um, this is a lot slower pace, or is it?
Yeah, and Knuff is gonna run down Raider. The great end is gonna come out, and it's gonna do enough damage. Raider will fall. Moth gonna find the kill on the Is Chill here, trying to survive out this Marticorus. Death from above is gonna do quite a bit of damage to I'm Knuff, but definitely not gonna be enough to find a kill here.
No, but having that ult down is a big deal because Susano's ult's pretty close to coming back up. And, Marty just used that death from above right in front of his face. So you can pretty much bet that Susano will be visiting him again very soon.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Now, I have to ask what you think about Abusement Park's idea and their strategy in this game number two of fighting on this solo side, trying to keep Mouse Cop down and out of this game after he is such a heavy force throughout game number one for KC the dudes.
Well, that is pretty much textbook how you do it moving into a game two. If there was a really good point on the opposing team, you look to shut that down.
Yeah, and they're trying to do it yet again, but not going to be able to find the kill as Susano does not have the mana to use that Typhoon ultimate and not going to be able to find the kill on the Nike as they Abusement Park has three people over in that solo lane right now.
Yeah, they are not giving Mouse Cop the chance to do what he did on Bologna. They have definitely opted to kind of play over on that side of the map. And you look at the stat lines, you look at the gold lead, and I would definitely have to say it's working.
Yeah, at least thus far it is. It'll keep Mousecop about a level and a half to 2 levels down already on the side of Dizzle. And one thing that I try to bring up is Dizzle did really good in game number one on that Vamana, though his stat line did not really show that, as he was 3-9 in the first game, but he is only 200 damage behind Guts on that Rama, who had top damage in the entire game. That Vamana was doing damage and setting up for his team, even if he was losing his own life for it.
Oh, Fan's gonna have to commit that ult there. Uh, that's tough. 8 minutes in. You're already behind, right? And like Thanatos is now looking to kind of move around and see if he can get a kill somewhere, and that's one of your biggest tools on the map to make that happen. Just gone for free at a back camp. That's tough.
Yeah. And now Abusement Park, after getting that ultimate off, are going to be able to start raiding the entire jungle of KC. The dudes able to strip away a couple buffs and now might be looking towards this Skull Fury here in this early game as we're going to see a pause come out between these two teams. And, as we're seeing this game start flesh out and unwind and, get into the early stages and into this mid stages of this game. What do you think that Casey the dudes really need to do right now to try and get back in this game? I know they're not down super far, but they're already 2,000 gold down. So what do you think they have to do to try and get back to equilibrium in this matchup?
Well, part of it they're already doing. You saw Thanatos right before that pause over on the right side, making sure that that blue buff gets secured. And, that's your first step, is making sure you're getting your farm, making sure that farm is being secured and that it is not going over to the side of Abusement Park and even further increasing that lead. Now, the second step is to try and find a pick onto someone. You've got to find a lane to shut down. Uh, I can't say that I would want to look at Cucullin. Uh, Cucullin's a dangerous proposition at the best of times, and this one's already ahead. Oh no.
As they're going to be trying to get another kill onto Mousecop. Going to be forced to use his ultimate, using it to stay alive, as he's going to be able to get both the Typhoon and the ultimate out of Kook Lane. Just a rough situation for Mousecop, as he has everyone coming in on him. But Mousecop and Yamoja right now trying to find the kill onto Dizzle, but really just not having the damage, being 2 levels down right now.
Yeah, and the good news for Mouse Cop here is that now that he's got a few levels on this Nike, now that he's got this Glad Shield online, building into, I don't know, maybe a contagion, a breastplate. Um, Now that he's got some of this defense, Nike is extraordinarily hard to kill. So now that we're moving into this phase of the game, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to just walk over and kill him like they have been in this early game. Um, Fan is getting his farm. He's not down. Uh, what am I saying?
But
Yamoja.
right now, Yamoja is in a bit of trouble as they're trying to run him down. But it's going to be a Raider as they turn their focus onto him. A good stun and root by this Marticarus to save his teammate, as Dizzle gets soloed on the backside on solo. But this Marticarus off a good route, going to be able to save Raider and JJ's life. What a good play by J Racing.
That was great for KC the dudes. Nike got a solo kill on the Cucullin, who has been keeping her down this whole game. She's got some gold going in the pocket. She's almost caught up in level. Great restraint from Thanatos there. He used that hovering death in that fight to escape. And I can't say that I would have been able to see that low health bar and not swing down into the middle of that. He would have almost definitely died for it, but that was excellent restraint on his part.
Yeah, and just everywhere on the map, Casey the dude's able to win, as on the duo side as well, as Ryu was able to push Guts out of the lane and make him go back to the base. A huge swing in their favor, bringing that gold lead down from about 2,500 down to a grand, and bringing the XP difference back in line. Just great work by Casey the dudes there.
Yeah, they did what they needed to, right? Like we talked about it. Cucullin is under this tower. Okay, all right, we're good. Nike gonna take the back there.
This Kook lane of Dizzle is cooking right now, way deep under this tower to force out the Nike of Mousecop. Mousecop is going to be able to teleport in, and they have the Thanatos lurking in the midst. They might be able to find a kill onto Dizzle before Knuff gets here, as they're going to try to do so, but the Typhoon is going to come through. That's a lot of damage onto Raider, but he is going to get into the hovering death, and they are not going to be able to find these kills before Knuff gets here. But they're just lucky that Knuff was not able to find the kill onto Raider there.
That was a great rotation from Raider, and a better rotation from Knuff. Great rotation. If he is even half a second late there, Cucullin probably dies. Thanatos gets a kill. Then you've got to be worried about that. The gold's being pulled, though.
Gold Fury is up. Yamoja trying to steal it away. Doesn't have the damage. Abusement Park is going to be able to secure it out. But in the backlines is the Nike with the Sentinel of Zeus. Is going to find a kill onto Knuff. Might be able to find a kill onto Drugginator as well. But it will be the Marty with the death from above, finding it. Now Dizzle, trapped out in the back lines, is going to be able to find his death as Raider just off with the hovering death is gonna dive for it. And now Casey the Dudes will find four, but it's Guts that finds the one kill onto Thanatos off of a missed hovering death.
Any way you look at that, 4 for 1, it's a great trade. If you're getting 4 for 1 and a Fury, it evens it up a little bit. Um, you know, Abusement Park do lose 4 there, but they do get the Fury, which that gold is going to mitigate that loss a bit. Pyro going to mitigate it a little less so. Gold now going to swing back in the favor of KC the Dudes. But this gold lead is not, it's going back and forth right now as these objectives are being pulled. 500 is negligible. It's almost irrelevant. Items are going to be pretty much even. Both teams still in a perfect place to be able to contest and move around the map.
Yeah, gold is going to be even after that fight. But what are your thoughts on the XP difference that Case the Dudes got off that fight as they were even before it? Now they're quite ahead. So right now, Casey the Dude's getting a 3K XP lead off of that. What are your thoughts on that zombie?
Um, that's what happens when you get 4 kills going into your pocket. It it's good. Marty is up 2 levels on the Ixchel. Hachi's got a level lead on the Rama. Um, items are still fairly even. Dominance finished for Hachi. Oh boy.
As Ischel just going to be off the mark with that knock up, not going to be able to follow up. And, we're talking about all these items and what these teams are doing. As right now, Ryu just absolutely smacking Guts, trying to kill him with the mounted archery, but the hovering death will keep him in place for them to find that kill. As Guts is going to become just a pile of guts, and now Hachi going to be able to take the tower for free and be able to get back safely, as no one is going to make another rotation.
Yeah, we're approaching the 17-minute mark. That's a great play, and especially as good of a performance as Guts had on this Rama in the first game, I don't blame you.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out as Raider is at 1 HP with a good scythe is going to stay alive, but it's Dizzle on the back end, going to be able to find a kill onto this Marticarus, but loses life for it. Right now, Abusement Park looking to find another kill onto this Nike, but Ryu is here, and he's going to shred through Geb for a double. Now it's Moth getting ran down by this Hachi. Ryu doing so much damage with these Hachi autos, and Knuff is going to come in on him, and he almost got blown up for it. Hovering death, a quarter HP is Raider looking for something off of Ryu's damage, not going to be quick enough. And right now, this Hachi is absolutely slapping with this dominance coming online.
Yeah, he is, and unfortunately enough for Abusement Park, at the very back end of that fight, beads are now down on Ixchel, which, the reason that's a big deal, it's a big deal on any god that doesn't have a dash or any long-range movement ability. Those beads being down for the next 2 minutes means that Ixchel has to position very carefully for these fights in the jungle. And by carefully, I mean very far away from anything on the opposing team.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where even though she has a CC immune ultimate, it puts her in situations where she's going to have to use it more defensively and not be able to use it as aggressively as she might like. So that's something that she's going to have to watch out for going into those next fights. But Zombie, looking over these builds, we're talking about this Ischil already. What are your thoughts on her building a breastplate early rather than going into some more damage versus this team of KC the Dudes.
I think it makes absolute sense. Your only magical damage that's coming out of KC the Dudes is Yamoja, which while Yamoja for a guardian, especially for a healing guardian, does have a very respectable damage output, it's not that much. So, you can absolutely itemize into this breastplate. It's going to give you the mana. It's going to give you some cooldown. That mana is going to give you a little extra power on your book. And it's going to keep you safer from a 4 physical team. I like it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where gonna make it where that Marty and the Thanatos, that Hachi are not gonna be able to melt her quite as quickly. Although, even with just one item of defense, she's still going to be taking a lot of damage through it. As this fight is going to get picked up, they're going to go and try and target onto J Racing of this Marty, going to force him out. But it's in the backline of Raider and Mouse Cop diving straight into the backline, going for Guts and Drugginator. As Drugginator is in Threshold, this is Raider going up. He's going to be able to heal up enough. Is going to get the bees and Aegis out of Moth, and into the backlines goes this Kukling, gonna get absolutely melted by Ryu as Raider gets sniped down by the Astral Barrage, and now Ryu looking to gun down this Rama, and is gonna do it with those eagle eye shots. So much range, so much power, just melting Guts to have health. And now Casey the Dude's going to be able to walk away and get a free Pyromancer, as Abusement Park's just not going to be able to step up here.
Yeah, KC are doing a really good job of pushing their advantages right now. Rama's level 18. This attack speed build is not going to come into its full prominence until that Silver Branch is online, until that build's full. And, Hachi's level 20. He's got Deathbringer, he's got Dom, he's got Executioner. Should be probably upgrading that Gilded here pretty shortly. And they're using that advantage for as long as they've got it, and they're doing a great job of it so far. Might even look for them with this lead that they've got now, 3 levels out of mid, 2 levels out of the ADC. This is where you could look to pull and force a fight at fire.
Yeah, and you mentioned that gilded arrow. Literally, as you said it, it did get upgraded there for Ryu, so he has that extra crit, that extra power online with that ornate arrow. You mentioned it, and literally as you did, buys the item. So that's going to be a huge power spike for this Hachiman, already having that Deathbringer online. But now this fight, Dizzle is going in deep, absolutely melted by Ryu as he has those big crits. Luckily, the Geb with his passive only doesn't take nearly as much. But into the backlines goes Raider, and he almost disappears instantly off that Cataclysm as he teleported off the duo side and just disappeared almost. Forced back instantly.
This is one of those times that I wish the amateur leagues had instant replay. Uh, Holy cow! Casey the Dude's gonna get this tower here. They could look to push this T2. I think I would like to see them move back for that fire. You've got nearly every ult out on Abusement Park. Oh boy.
And with a mist bomb, tower is going to be very healthy here. So is going to be forced into the death from above. Is this Marticarus going to force out the Geb? But this going to be Drizzle with nowhere to go. But it doesn't matter when you have a beautiful Yamoja wall that is going to mess everything up. And I'm Knuff off the flank with the help of his team are going to blow through 4 almost instantly. Now they're going to look towards this Fire Giant. Raider is in the vicinity, is in the hovering death, gonna look for a kill, is gonna find one on the Kukling, gonna try and run away, but is gonna have the entire team of Abusement Park looking for his head. And he find another kill, or can he get out? And with a blink, a hope, and a prayer, is gonna get out, goes back in, and this Susano almost dies for it as he teleports in on him. And Abusement Park, a risky play, gonna be able to survive as I'm enough as that will send Raider straight to this grayscale.
Man, what a fight. What a fight from Abusement Park. Never have I seen a team more determined to spite me as a C2, right as I get done saying how Casey have got this pushed in, I'd like to see him go pull the fire. Abusement Park make a great engagement there. That Yamoja ult was very well placed. Health bars started going down, and then directly from the flank, Kano comes in on that Susano and cleans house. Great fight there. Nobody's going to get the fire just yet. All three objectives are currently up on the map. Looks like KC are going for this pyro. Abusement Park are going to need to repeat that performance.
Yeah, and right now, Casey the Dude's trying to make the rotation over, but Mouse Cop going in deep is just going to disappear. The entire team of Abusement Park just going to surround him and kill him. Now it's a 5v4 situation. Gonna be looking towards this Fire Giant and trying to find more kills as Dizzle straight to the back line doing so much, and they're gonna find the kill onto the Emoja and onto the Hachi. Rio goes down, and now J-Racing forced into the death from above in order to escape. It's a 5-on-2 at the T2, but right now Raider doing a lot of damage to this Kuka lane, putting Dizzle into a rough spot, and the hovering death is up. Who's he gonna drop on? And he is gonna find a kill onto the Geb and is gonna lose his life here by guts. Gonna be able to get that rollout and get those big autos off.
Wow. They're probably going to get this T2 here as well. Well, maybe not. That's unfortunate. They could have gotten that T2 there. The big objective fire is still up. Now, Ryu's coming back in 10 seconds. Raider's going to be back up in 30. But, as far as your congestion on this fire goes, could be a lot worse. KC are probably going to head over here and maybe contest this, but they may not be able to do it in time.
As it's going to drop to a half, as Casey the Dudes are here, it's going to fall to a quarter. Right now, Abusement Park might be in trouble as they're outnumbered here, and the Fire Giant is going to get secured by Abusement Park. Casey the Dudes not able to steal it, and now you have to fight if you're Casey the Deuce. Try and find a pick here onto Dizzle. Don't let this man escape, but he is going to be able to try, as Mouse Cop is not going to be able to find the kill, but Mouse Cop almost getting deleted here off some big hits, and Abusement Park makes it all out with the Fire Giant.
That's a miracle. We have just witnessed a miracle here. Abusement Park kind of took an inopportune moment for a couple of players to back, and the other three remained and continued pulling the fire. And I don't think they were expecting that KC were going to show up in full force on it. And when they did, it almost went bad.
Enough going in onto Ryu, looking for so much. Guz just gonna blow him up. Astral Barrage is coming down. Will Ryu survive? And with an Aegis, does survive the second, but not the third. Ryu will go down to Guts, and now Guts ran through the autos off the Susano pool and will find a kill. And now chasing them down is Drizzle of this Kuka lane, just getting all this set up for his team, smacking this Thanatos in the face and being able to slow him down enough for Guts to find himself another 2 for him, 1 for the Geb. This Murd is going down, and they might be able to end here with this Fire Giant, and with 3 members down on KC the Dudes, gonna opt to go for the solo duo side. Phoenix first, doing a lot of damage, getting it down to half. Only people here are Nike and Marticarus, and they are going to be able to get the bird pretty handedly. Not going to press their luck to try and end this game quite yet.
You know, it's a 50-50 call, right? Like, I've seen just as many games won from an end call with some low health bars as I've seen thrown from an end call with some low health bars. Uh, and that's the thing that you kind of do in team comms when you're getting ready to make that call. You either go for it or you don't. But I don't mind opting with the safe call there, right? Like you've still got the fire buff. You're not going to have it for a lot longer, maybe 60, 70 seconds left on it at this point. You've still got the fire buff. You had a lot of gold in hand after all of those towers, birds went down. You've got items to back and get, and you've still got this fire for a little bit. You can get this pyro, this beacon. You've got two birds down. You can literally afford to just sit here and wait for this next fire to come up on EFG, take it, and push it down.
I mean, you're absolutely right. They have the space and the ability to run the game at this point, able to wait out that EFG. But, you know, part of me has to feel like you have an Ischil that still has ult that can heal up your team. You have a Geb with the shields. I think I would have went for it there. Tried to close out this game while you had the opportunity rather than giving that small chance of Casey the dudes to do something at this EFG or in these next fights. And now they are looking to fight here as it's going to be this Kukulane going to find four off the knockup. Marty is going to try and rein in the damage, but that's going to be a double for the Kukulane. But it's going to be the Thanatos with the execute. But is Jill going to follow through? And they're going to be able to find the five. You were right. Safety in numbers. Going to find a deicide and Abusement Park looking to end this game and take this set 2-0, and that they will.
Beautiful play there. Beautiful play there. And I brought up the conversation of like the 50-50 call, whether you end, whether you don't. And Abusement Park knew that they had the ability to buy and back items. They knew they still had that fire buff for a little bit, and they knew that they had a good chance for a fight if KC decided to take it with them. And so they backed, bought their items, came back at full health, and took that fight. Great play there. Great play. Good set.
Yeah, and just Dizzle on this Kukulane, an absolute menace. Top damage in the game at 33k, and that four-man Kukulane ultimate, that big knockup off that war cry to set up Guts and Moth to run it down. Just absolutely beautifully well done.
You said war cry, and my brain heard war crime, and I didn't really hear a difference, all things considered. That was a nasty ult. Great way to end this set.
I mean, with an ult like that, might as well be a war crime against the enemy team. But wow, just a great set through and through. Guts on that Rama going 8-1-12 on that second game. You do not want to give this man Rama because he does so well at staying safe constantly throughout those games.
My prediction for the way that this meta is moving right now, I'd be willing to wager that in the coming weeks, you're not going to want to give a lot of people Rama. I think Rama is in a very good spot right now, and moving forward, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And I gotta give credit to Casey the dudes throughout that game. They were doing so well throughout it, holding their own and even quite ahead for so long. until that one rotation off I'm Knuff on the backside when they were at their tier two, just completely turning the game on its head in favor of Abusement Park.
Absolutely. And the way that they were able to fight most of that game, and the contestant they put up in game one, you've got some stuff that you can VOD review, you've got some stuff that you can look at going into the coming weeks. uh Abusement Park came out this time on top, but Casey definitely have some stuff that they can do moving forward.
Absolutely. Both teams playing a great match here at the Animosity Amateur Smite League. We thank you all for watching. We thank you all for being here, as it was another great set here. And give credit to Abusement Park for taking home the win. Give Casey the Dudes a round of applause for a great match as well. I want to say thank you to everyone at home that watched, and we'll see y'all next time.